Now I did hear you said you have 5 businesses. I know this, but one of your other businesses
Mm-hmm.
that, um, right in the middle of the art world, you a beast in too. I
Mm-hmm.
know you fresh. You was always a fresh fella. The shoes always was clean on the DC tip. You started getting into what's called retail arbitrage. I know I used to do it as well, but I just got tired of going to so many
Mm-hmm.
different places and getting it. So it was short lived for me.
Yeah.
But explain retail
Mm-hmm.
arbitrage and what some people will call it thrifting. But explain your company and how
Yeah.
you got that set up. What's the name of your company and how can you eat off that?
So basically, the universal term for it is called being a reseller. And what being a reseller means is that you buy something low and you sell it for profit, right? So retail arbitrage itself has to deal with, let's say, Walmart's having a clearance sale. So they could be having a clearance sale on, let's just say, Duracell battery. If they was like, man, today and today only, all 12 packs of Duracell batteries is marked down to $1 instead of $5. A retail arbitrage per my job would be to go in there, buy as many of them $1 battery packs as I could, and then sell those battery packs for the retail value or close to it. So me technically, I would buy it for $1, I would sell it for $4, and I would make after fees and everything probably like a 225 profit per battery pack. And people be like, that's not a lot of money. It's not. But imagine I bought 100 battery
Right.
packs. I spent $100 and I just made 225 in profit from $100. That's what retail arbitrage is. So when you get into retail arbitrage on a larger scale, you're talking about going to Ross's and Marshalls and buying Jordans and cleats and all this, and then reselling on like platforms like Amazon and eBay. Now, what I found was that's cool, but it wasn't as enjoyable as being a reseller of things like vintage finds and vintage electronics and toys, because now it feels like I'm a treasure hunter.
Yep.
So I go to thrift stores, estate sales, garage sales, and I try to find old stuff. And so it started for me with clothing because, like you say, I've always been a clothing dude. So I, being 38 years old, remember when polo in the 90s was
Killing
killing it. You know what I'm saying? You had
it.
that low,
Yeah.
you was
Yes, sir.
fresh. So I started with finding vintage polo and vintage Nike, and not just a regular collar polo, but like joints that had the word Polo Sport written on it and the numbers, and like it was cool. So now I got into it because my brother saw a show on Netflix called Slobby's World, which is about a reseller named Slobby Robbie based in Arizona. Now, y'all should watch this show. Even if you don't want to be a reseller, it's pure entertainment. But I literally watched the entire season in one day. Couldn't cut it off. And I was so amazed at what he was buying stuff for and what he was selling stuff for that I was like, yo, this is a real job. Like people are
These
resellers.
people
So I went to Goodwill. I went to Goodwill the next day and bought a bunch of shit that I didn't even sell because I thought, oh man, buy some polo. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point that you just made. A lot of people get into business and you can put fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Like your first go round, it's very rare that you hit really big on your first go round. Explain
Man.
the process of you getting the idea. You like, damn, this shit sounds easy. It's something I like. I'm already fresh. I
Mm-hmm.
got the eye for it. Explain the
Mm-hmm.
process of buying the wrong shit. When did you realize you bought the wrong shit? And then what was your corrective course of action?
So the thing for me was I didn't know about checking the comps. And when you hear the word comp means comparison of what already sold of that item. So when I got started, I was buying things just based off the name and not understanding that the value of something is determined by how easy it is to find it. So when I bought all that stuff, I bought Nike, I bought you know what I'm saying, Polo, but it wasn't nothing special. And because it wasn't special, it didn't mean that it couldn't sell. It just meant that it would take forever and it wouldn't sell for a lot
How,
of profit. So at
how many?
Goodwill, okay, it really depends on your platform. Everybody has a different way of using it. I'm mainly an eBay seller. So we're Poshmark ambassadors, eBay top sellers, and then Mercari 5-star sellers. So all those platforms have a way to type something in. So let's just say a vintage polo shirt. I can type in vintage polo shirt, striped polo shirt. I can then click on sold and see how much that shirt sold for. So what you should do before you buy something is look at it, look it up, and see if it's worth it. If I buy it for $5 and it's selling for $8 or after fees, that's not going to be a quick turnaround, and that's not where I'm at. With clothing, I'm trying to get at least a $20+ profit. So what ended up happening is I bought that stuff, boom, didn't sell. I needed to figure out how to really buy stuff. So this is when it comes into sacrifice and being about your business. I went in my own closet, took out all them J's that I didn't wear no more, all them Nikes, and I started selling them. And what that was doing was, one, putting my skin in the game for my own self, willing to sacrifice things that meant a lot to me in order to get the capital to build this business. And two, taught me about listing it correctly, correct prices, how to market it. After I made about 700-800 on shoes, I went back out, and that's when I started buying the correct things. And the correct things I learned is from studying. You have to study from those who came before you. You want to play like Mike? You got to watch Mike. Kobe studied Mike, adapted that game. Kobe played like Mike. You know what I'm saying? To be a reseller, I had to learn how resellers shop, how resellers sell. I put in at least 500 hours on YouTube videos because all of the resellers got YouTube channels. So I was studying names, brand names, what's popping, where to sell it, toys, mugs, everything. Bruh, it took about 6 months of really finding our footing. And then we just kind of got into that lane, bruh. I started thinking about, what do you know? I know sneakers.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So what I started doing is I started going to consignment stores and Goodwills and Facebook Marketplace and finding shoes for the low 30, 40, $50, taking them home, cleaning them up, getting them just fresh, selling them for 100, 150, because I knew enough. Now, this is why they say knowledge is power. And this I'm going to bring it back to this. Because what you know is what gets you paid. And I say that to say I've gone to many stores where Jordans that wasn't worth shit was marked for 80, 90, $100. But these Ken Griffey's over here that look a little dirty was $20, and you didn't even know that them Ken Griffey's is the most expensive shoe up in here because those is worth 180, 190. Used 180. Clean them up. Punished, beat up, they worth 80. You know what I'm saying? So that's the knowledge piece. So I just started flipping sneakers, Jordans, all this, and I just started buying shoes. It was COVID. Niggas couldn't go outside. So they was buying shoes, or they lost their job. They needed bread. What you gonna do? Sell your stuff. Started buying J's, flipping. And that's really how it got started, bro. That's really how it got started. And I just took that. I learned. Now I do vintage toys, electronics. I take a Nintendo apart, clean it all up, screw it back together. You know what I'm saying? Vintage clothing. I got suppliers in the UK that I buy by the pound from. You know what I'm saying? I got people that buy storage units that I go to them and I shop with them in bulk. Like, bruh,
do you
LLC, legit business, like now, like just real life, bruh.
Do you buy like liquidation pallets or anything like that?
So we are about to enter that space. We didn't before because we were living in an apartment, and that was the thing. When we got our house, we were like, we have to get a place with a garage, so that because that's the next step, right? Like you always always have to upscale your business. So we're cool with where we at, but if you want to be a 6-figure reseller, you have to start getting into things like wholesale. So you can buy. There's even a show unboxing something now where they show people who do this. Like you bid on pallets. If you win, they drop them just off to you. You don't always know what's in them. So you can get an Amazon return pallet. Now you might get a joint and everything in there broken. Or you might get a joint and it works, and now you can pay $600 for this pallet and make three
Yeah.
G's. You know what I'm saying? How much are you willing to invest in your dream? You know what I'm saying? How much are you willing to lose on your business? Because you gotta lose too. That's the lessons though. Had I went to Goodwill my first day and hit, I wouldn't be as good of a seller as I am today. I needed that L. That's a humbling
Facts.
L. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have to do the work. Yeah. I thought I could just jump in the game and be like, oh, I'm the man. Now I'm a master in this field, bro. Like I don't have to look up stuff on my phone no more. You know what I'm saying? Like I travel Alabama, Tennessee. Man, I take trips to go shopping. This is real for me. That's why I love being a teacher, because we're off in the summer. You know what I'm saying? So I'm the first person that.
What are some of your favorite places to go? You ain't got to give the specific places, but some of your favorite places to go and find like some of your best.
I throw it out there, bro. So Goodwills are cool. In Georgia, Goodwills are cool because Goodwills all have a set price. So if you're buying a T-shirt, it's going to be $2.99. If you're buying a polo shirt, it's going to be $4.99. Jackets, $9.99. And that kind of gives you that flexibility. The issue with Goodwill is Goodwill now has their own auction site. So because they have their own auction site now, you're not going to find Gucci at Goodwill no more. You're not going to find fresh Jordan 1s at Goodwill no more. Nah, those are on their auction site, which you can compete in and buy. But yeah, so I don't really rock with them too tough because of that, because they're getting it for free. You know what I'm saying? But I like consignment stores. So in Georgia, that's a Ragorama, that's a Plato's Closet. You know what I'm saying? And it still comes down to what you know, though, because it's hella resellers in Georgia. And I see people in the store with me that are walking right past things that I buy because I know they're worth something. So you got to know your thing. Favorite place by far, estate sales, bro. You never know what you might find at an estate sale, man. Unopened, unused, you just never really know. Those are my first. Yeah. Yeah, and you can still do Ross's, good. You can still do Marshalls. You know what I'm saying? But again, you got to know what to buy. In those places, if you're not first, you last. Because the first person that walks in that store and catches those LeBrons for $40 and lists them that day, he's going to make the profit. You catch them LeBrons 3 days later, the market already saturated now because everybody done found them. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of them things where you got to constantly be. And there's a dude called Don Alpha Cleats on Instagram. All he does is shop at Marshalls, Goodwills, Burlington. And because of where he lives, he finds nothing but rare shoes. Bruh. And he posts them every day, shows you what he finds. Glory to God, I found these joints today, and he'll show you the StockX comps. I'm talking about $30 for shoes that's worth $280, $300, $400. Wow. Killing them, bro, every day. So it's possible. People told me this is an oversaturated market. You might not want to get in this game. But people tell you stuff like that.
I hate when people say that because the world is so big. And I do credit repair, and there's 10 million people in the state of Georgia that need credit repair. And there's no way in hell that myself personally, me and my business partner are even going to touch 10 million people.
Because it ain't 10 million credit repair.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, the world is so big, the market is big. All you got to do is find that niche. And that's one thing that it seems like you're very good at, which is finding a good niche that you can operate in and you got some room. And like they say, it's money in the niches. All right.
Yeah, bro. And you got to do what you like. So that's the thing. Like, to keep yourself from burning out, like you said it yourself, you was doing retail arbitrage, but you wasn't feeling it. If you ain't feeling it, you gonna burn out. Like, you're not gonna be able to keep it going because eventually it's not gonna be entertaining to you. So then if it's not entertaining, it's not worth your time. But if you invest in something that you care about, your passion projects, make your passion projects your businesses, man. Make your projects your businesses. Yeah. Like, make your thoughts reality. That's the thing we got to stop doing. It's not perfection, it's production. And that's the biggest thing. Product over perfection. Hey, Like,
That's
you
a
know what I'm
shirt.
saying?